ain't sleeping till Hollywood, Hollywood. We ain't sleeping.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to the No Sleep Till Hollywood podcast. It's your girl, Gaelyn D. Smith.
And your boy, Caleb McDonald.
And we are not sleeping until we make it in Hollywood. And while we're up, we will be discussing the state of the industry and our place in it.
And, I mean, hopefully you're not claustrophobic.
Oh, my
Lord. Give us a Santa applause, you know what I'm saying? Because we are talking Christmas today.
Wow.
There's been a new movie released December 1st, Candy Cane Lane.
Yes.
Starring Eddie Murphy. Okay, directed by Reginald.
Starring Eddie Murphy and Tracy Ross.
Oh, yeah. My bad.
Tracy Ellis Ross.
My bad. I didn't mean to disrespect.
Don't do that.
It features a lot more too, but yes, it does feature Eddie Murphy, starring Eddie Murphy and Tracy Ellis Ross. Okay, directed by Reginald Hudlin.
Yes, the iconic, the legendary Reginald Hudlin.
If you don't know, directed House Party, directed Django Unchained.
The original House Party.
Oh yeah,
original. Be very clear and specific.
Not that new one by X.
I haven't seen that one.
Just to specify.
I saw the first House Party and that was enough for me. I didn't need to see any more.
Yeah, I didn't need to see any of them.
I enjoyed the first one. It was great. It was like a fun little movie. And I didn't need any more of them.
Not monumentous, but like, it was like fun.
It was eaten.
Yeah. The movie was written by Kelly Younger, who is a writer on the Muppets Haunted Mansion TV series.
Yes.
And the Muppets Now series. He was a white man on this project. But
it was just so wild to me. I didn't know a white man wrote this movie because there were just real black specific things that I just went.
Right, like if he wrote the Drake line.
The Drake line was one of the best moments of the movie. I'm not even gonna hold you.
Give us a Drake album for Christmas.
Because that's not what I'm asking for Christmas. If I had a Christmas wish, you know what I'm asking for?
What?
Act 2. Beyonce, where you at, girl? Give it. Where's Act 2? Give it. That's what I want for Christmas.
Well, Act 1, Act 2, Act 3. Speaking of 3 acts, back to this movie. So, a man. So the movie is about, for those who don't know, a man, Eddie Murphy, is determined to win the neighborhood's annual Christmas decorating contest. You know, every house in the neighborhood, they decorate their house for Christmas. Get entered into this contest. You know, obviously.
And for the first time ever, they're offering $100,000 to the winner of this contest. That's why it's important.
For the first time ever. Mm-hmm. Okay. This was a surprise to everybody. Right. And so he makes a pact with an elf to help him win. And the elf casts a spell that brings the 12 days of Christmas to life, which brings unexpected chaos every which way.
I'm so mad that in the logline it says he makes a pact with an elf because that's not what happened. He went into that store, he bought them decorations, and that's all he did. He didn't know he made a pact until he was too late.
Right. And my thing is, if you sign something without reading, all right, that's one thing. But when the person gives it to you and says, oh, you don't have to read that.
I'm reading all of it. And then she said, you're basically signing your life away.
Right. Like,
baby, at that point now, I literally have to read every word on this piece of paper because you have to go around.
And this story was brought to life by an amazing packed cast. Mm-hmm. Okay. So Eddie Murphy was playing the dad, the main character. Tracy Ellis Ross was his wife.
What was her name in the movie?
Her name in the movie was Carol.
Thank you. Okay. I was like,
Carol
sounded right.
Right. Because, fun fact for those who didn't pay attention during the movie, everyone in the main family is named after a Christmas related.
Which was so funny.
Yeah, no, that's hilarious. Joy, Holly, and Nick
were the kids, right? And then Carol is the wife. And then what was, his name was Chris too. He was Chris Carter as well.
Which could be Chris Kringle, you know.
Chris Kringle, Christmas. Christ.
Oh, Eddie Murphy is Jesus.
I don't think Eddie Murphy is Jesus. I don't think that's what this movie is. But we'll get into what I think this movie is in a second.
But the movie was featuring a lot of actors who you may know. It was featuring DC Young Fly, Danielle Pinnock, David Allen Greer, Chris Red, Pentatonics, the lovely voices of
Mm.
Pentatonics.
Robin Thede was in this movie.
Robin, can't forget her.
Like
She's amazing.
literally, they just went and said, anybody want to be in a Christmas movie, and everybody was in it. And I love a good movie where
Mm.
there's just so many names for no reason, like where you were just like, y'all just had budget and just said, let's
Right.
call everybody. I love it.
Yeah, like Don't Look Up. That was one of my favorite parts. Just the fact that like it was so many people. It was packed. It
And
was like
now
cool.
let's get into the story a little bit more because a name that we left off the list, y'all, everybody, the very sexy. The very sexy Trevante Rhodes was in this movie for a hot second. And unfortunately, it was the weakest part of the movie for me. I won't even lie. Like him being fine was not enough in this case. He played the evil boss who, like, so
Mhm.
basically Eddie Murphy's character Chris gets laid off at the top of the movie. And Trevante Rhodes played his evil boss who laid him off, which one, I'm sorry, in what world is Trevante Rhodes Eddie Murphy's boss? Like he's younger than him. I mean, I guess that's real, but like it just felt disingenuous to me right
Yeah.
there. And then Trevante is very talented. If y'all have seen Moonlight, you know he's real good. I don't know what he was doing in this movie. It just kind of felt like he was on his way to the airport and then got a call from Eddie Murphy and was like, hey, brother, man, can you come over here and say these 5 lines real quick on this movie for me? I know you're on your way on vacation, but could you come over?
And he said, "Yeah, no problem."
Like it just gave I have somewhere else to be.
Right.
It just wasn't giving to me.
Also, that being said, because he gets laid off, this does bring extra motivation
Mhm.
to the character of Chris when it does come to winning that best decorations this year. Because again, in general, it was just like obviously anybody would want first place, especially with how much hard work that he
Yeah,
was
no, he was
putting in.
hand carving these decorations. Like that is the key part that we left out was he was hand carving his Christmas decorations, painting the candy canes by hand. This man wasn't going to no Walmart.
Meanwhile, his neighbor, who was a serial winner, just paid for blow-ups.
Mind you, his house looked ugly. Like literally, it was blown up, and I was like, "Ooh, this ugly." Because I don't know about you, Caleb, but I love
Mhm.
Christmas. I love
Yeah.
Christmas decorations. I enjoy seeing them. But all them inflatables in people's houses are ugly. I don't care what anybody thinks. I hate inflatable decorations of any and every kind. They are ugly.
I've seen some look good for Halloween. Some, not all.
I just think they're ugly.
Really? All.
I just don't. It's so tacky, so cheap.
What's tacky and cheap is Pepper having his
Whoa, whoa!
what?
She's not tacky and cheap. My
Is
girl Pepper was eating down in this movie. Okay.
to have people sign something without looking. That's not tacky and or
All right.
cheap.
So that's not tacky and cheap, but what it is. So y'all, this movie. I said this to Caleb before the podcast, and he had to think about it for a second. This movie is if the Little Mermaid and the Blackening had a baby on Christmas Day. That's what this movie is. Because Eddie Murphy's character, Chris, he's Ariel. All right. He's in a bad space. He's trying to move on and have a good moment and, win this competition. Ariel falls in love with that boy, but she can't talk to him and they can't talk to each other. So what do they both do? They go when see this is a word. This is a word right here. When you're in a dark place, sometimes you turn to something that looks like a good idea, but is going to put you in a worse predicament
Mhm.
before it can get better. And what they should have did was turn to Jesus, but that's not what they did in these movies. They went and made deals with witches. Okay, Chris, signs his life away on that paper, just like Ariel does. Ariel has 24 hours to fall in love with the prince, but she don't have no voice. What does Chris do? He has these amazing decorations that then run away and break and start wreaking havoc on his life.
Right.
Who is Pepper? Ursula. And it's the Blackening because there were a whole lot of real black jokes and everybody black was in this movie. And then they had the whole conversation about, who could die first in a horror movie? They had another one of those because they were saying how they should split up. And the mom was like,
Mhm.
no, that's the worst thing to happen in a horror movie. And then somebody was like, well, you're all black. So, can't die first. And I was like, that was the thesis of the Blackening. And that's the movie. That's what it is.
That's the movie. That's what it is.
That
This
is
is
the
the
Blackening meets the Little Mermaid.
this is the second week that we've had a comparison of
What did I compare last
other
time?
movies.
Oh, no, I know what
No,
you did. Oh, yes.
yeah, I did.
But that
But
is the
they
movie.
ring true. They do. I will say it was a major surprise that this movie was what it was because I did not think that he was losing his job. I thought it was going to be this holly jolly. I want to win.
Yeah.
Oh, but there's twist to it. No, like it was like, yo, I need to win.
Because the twists were good. Like, I think that's what I enjoyed about this movie was like, it was very much like a wholesome Christmas family movie. There
Hmm.
wasn't, I mean, yes, he lost his job, but we didn't stay there. You know what I mean? Like, it wasn't
Right.
like, and now we're sad. And it was just like, okay, boom. Now I have more time to work on these Christmas decorations. Whoop de whoop. But like, it just kept moving in this very like positive, wholesome way. It
Hmm.
brought in the fantasy element, which I thought was interesting. There were
Right.
definitely things I was confused about. You know what I'm saying? Like in terms of like some of the rules of like the 12 days of Christmas come to life and they're attacking the
Hmm.
family, but like can other people see this?
Right. Because there was a whole track and field scene where
Yeah.
that very much seemed to be something other people might even run away from.
Right.
But it was going on just fine and dandy. But then at the end, we do have a scene where everyone's like, what is that? What is this? Da, da, da. So it's just like,
Because
if
in
the
the track
movie,
coach, there's a moment with the track coach because the oldest daughter, Joy, she runs track and she's a
right,
senior in high school. And so she's trying to basically her parents want her to go to USC, but she doesn't want to go to USC. She wants to go somewhere else and she can't really tell them that. And then there's a scene where a scout comes to the track meet. And then, of course, because she's running the race when the 12 days of Christmas come to life, she like outruns her section. It's a relay. She keeps running around the track, which is like a violation of all the track rules. Your team would instantly be disqualified, all of these things. And then it's like the way that he talks to her and her family makes it sound like he didn't see what happened. But
right,
then we just saw other people at the same event react to what happened. So it was just a little
it leaves a lot to question.
like the rules, like they're just like there are moments where it was like, okay, y'all set up rules of the world, and then you didn't like make sure that they were like mapped out in every scene.
Right, you didn't follow through.
Yeah,
That was my biggest critique of the movie, if I'm being 100% honest.
yeah,
Because
it
it's
was
like,
just the rules of engagement.
that takes me out of it now. It's like, okay, I mean, now I have to be vigilant about, okay, this is a movie. So let me
Right, because I think the thing
set
is,
that.
it's like with any rule, it's like if you set up a rule of engagement in a movie, then I need you to follow it.
Yeah.
So like we can't in one scene be in 2020 and then in another scene be in 1965 without like a traveling. You
Hmm.
know what I mean? Like, and I felt like there were just moments where it's like that logic didn't do it for me, or like to be honest, I felt like the two kids could have been one kid. Like there were three kids, and I feel like there could have been two because
Yeah.
I feel like the older two kids were like the same. Like he played music, she ran track, but they both were like, we think that you're doing too much with this Christmas stuff. We're not really
Hmm.
into it. Dad, you don't understand us. Like, and yes, that one did track, one did music, but like they felt like the same character, just duplicated.
And for me, that note is purely like, just from a writing standpoint, it could have been the two. Because I did love the children.
Yeah, I love the baby, but here's the thing: I loved the baby.
Hmm.
The youngest
The
daughter
youngest.
was the strongest point, but she also was like realistically a second lead in the movie.
Hmm. Yeah, she was.
Whereas like
Um,
the other two kids, I'm like, y'all didn't need three kids.
I did enjoy the fact that this was like a Christmas movie
Oh
because
yeah,
there's a couple Christmas movies where it's like, all right, Christmas season,
right,
we'll see what happens around Christmas season. Then there's other movies where it's like, all right, this movie takes place on Christmas.
right.
But this was Christmas season, Christmas
The
decorations,
night before Christmas.
Christmas conversations, Christmas mythology. All
Yeah,
right. Like, I absolutely loved that there was some lore with Santa's previous favorite elf. What? We
yeah,
got a Lucifer of the elves?
yeah.
That's
That was kind of
crazy.
crazy.
And then also the fact that, like, the issue was the true meaning of Christmas. Like, she's catching these people because of what they are making Christmas set out to be
Right.
when it's like no, but you're supposed to be in the Christmas spirit. And like, I just really enjoy that.
But
Like,
then
I
she's
feel
not in
like
the
it
Christmas
really
spirit
shows.
because you ain't over here snatching people and taking advantage of people.
Taking
That's
advantage.
crazy.
It's
Pepper was
ridiculous.
eating. What was her name? What's her real name? Jillian something. Jillian Bell. Jillian Bell.
Jillian Bell.
She was good in this movie. I don't know what else she's done, but she should do some more stuff.
No, she
Oh,
definitely.
she's been nominated for an Emmy. She won an Emmy.
Oh,
Who is this lady?
who is this lady?
Sorry, y'all. I'm on IMDb. I'm like, who is this lady? Oh, y'all, we do know this lady. She was on Good Burger too, and she's been on Bob's Burgers and Tales of the Walking Dead and Green Eggs and Ham.
Because I know that she wrote for Saturday Night Live. I know that much.
Oh, I didn't know this lady, but she's good. I like her. She did Drunk History, Angry
She
Birds movie.
she definitely had like some of the best lines of the movie.
Oh, she was in Bridesmaids as Girl at Shower. You go, girl. I like her.
You go, girl, raise the roof.
Go, girl. You better be that girl at the shower.
I also did enjoy that this movie very much took usage of like the full scenes that they were shooting. Like it wasn't just, okay, here's what we're paying attention to. For instance, there's that one scene where the car is driving and then on the wall you see comparison is the thief of joy in a mural. And that's directly correlated with Chris's conversation about, no, he needs to be the best because all of them have this, but like I want to be in the competition. It's like, no, this movie really utilized. It was a film. It was a Christmas film.
And I think, there were so many good lessons and moments. I think, like you said about like the fact that it was a Christmas movie, because I think like my favorite Christmas movie, or one of them, is like This Christmas, right?
Right.
Everybody loves This Christmas. I literally saw it Christmas Day, the year it came out. But like you said, it's a Christmas movie because it takes place at Christmas, not because it's utilized. And granted, like, yes, Santa and all these things are capitalistic, whatever's. But like, there is something to be said for like Santa Claus and like Pepper, like you said, like the idea that it's basically a Bible story set in Christmas, using Christmas lore. Like there's something to it about it, brings that like wholesome family fun element, but it also makes it easier to talk about like the lessons and themes, right? Like all Christmas movies at their core are about like the reason for the scene, the kindness, community, caring for one another,
Family.
like these beautiful like themes. And when you have like, whether it's a movie that takes place at Christmas or a specific Christmas movie, but when a movie is able to really use those themes to drive the narrative and the plot point, I think it's so much stronger. I think that's why I was telling Caleb, like my favorite Grinch movie is the 2018 Illumination one. I know that's controversial, but I really like that one because it is a Christmas movie that uses the lore of Christmas, but then it also takes a classic story and sort of like fills in the gaps and the holes. And it gives us like a reason why the Grinch is the way he is. And then we even see at the end of that movie, like the Grinch does the Grinch, and then we see how the community responds and allows him to like, like make up for it and those things. Like I think Christmas movies like that are just so much fun and so pretty. So I loved this movie because at the end of all of it, like they were a Black family. They're just trying to, have a nice Christmas, get their kids through college. And it really, like, as much as it was this Christmas movie, it was also about this family, like, learning how to see each other and, like, support each other. Because I think that a lot of these Christmas movies, like, think about, like, the Hallmark movies, things like that, like, they assume a level of, like, perfection and Christmas cheer and Christmas perfection. And, like, this movie turns that on its head. And it's like, the dad didn't want to ruin Christmas, but then he has to turn to his family to save Christmas. It just was, like, real fun and real cute. I really enjoyed it a lot. I think for me, I was telling Caleb, this is a Christmas movie that I think I would watch every year. As opposed to like certain Christmas movies where you're like, that was so nice. I'm glad I saw it once. And I probably won't watch it again until I have kids. Like this for me was like one of the better Christmas movies in a while where I was like, it's corny enough that like it's a Christmas movie, but it's not like bad. It's actually a pretty solid film. It just happens to have enough of that corny Christmas thing that makes you feel like warm and cozy.
I did enjoy the children. Like, I know you said that like it could have been cut in, but like
I didn't dislike them. I liked all of the actors. I just felt like the way they were written, the older two could have been one. But I enjoyed the actors and what they did with it. I just was like, that part was where it got a little thin for me. Because I think the son had the better like writing of his storyline, but they both were similar.
That's funny because I was gonna say they both could have obviously benefited from like more depth.
Hmm.
But with the eldest daughter, I felt like she had, for me, that was the most emotional like connection, relatability.
Mm.
Where the son had the most like likable traits for me. Just because
Yeah.
like you have him going like, I'm good at math now, and it's like, son, that's the most basic
I'm
math
sorry, but when
that
he's
you
the
could do.
tuba thing had me crying. He said, "How many people you know play the tuba?" I was so mad for him. I said, "You better play that tuba, baby." And then you find out he can actually play like 7 instruments and he can dance. I said, "Okay, so
Right.
y'all as parents are haters."
Oh yeah, when they had him dancing, I was like,
He
oh
was.
okay.
I said,
He
"Okay, Chris
he
Brown."
was moving it.
See,
It was
see, and that was very black. They because the thing is this Christmas, almost Christmas, in this movie, all had that one little boy who could kind of sing and dance because they knew they
mhm,
got to put it in there
had
every
to.
time.
They did him a disservice with the recording of his dancing though. Like they could have made it more, like,
A
all right,
little
escape. He's in the
ah
studio now.
ah.
You know,
It could have been fire.
Missy Elliott.
It could have been. They could have. They could did a lot, but no, I enjoy. Like, yeah, I see what you're saying though.
And also the movie took place in California. Like it wasn't snowing.
That is what really sent me because Candy Cane Lane. I feel like if that's the name of your street, I should see some snow. I
Yeah, no,
wanted winter,
I'm actually very surprised that none of the houses had like a snow
fake
machine.
snow.
Like you're trying to
Definitely.
win at the very least. Bring something to the table. Like that. Yeah.
But I did
Uh,
enjoy that. I mean, yeah, there's something to be said for like. I like that California is the home of so many Black Christmas movies. It brings me a
right.
particular laugh of just like, are Black people in California just real into Christmas? Like, what's going on there?
Like
Are
the
we
Drake and
missing something over
Josh.
here on the East Coast?
Like the Drake and Josh Christmas movie.
Oh yeah.
That's black
Well,
cinema right there.
yeah. Black cinema.
Listen,
Black cinema.
as a kid, I just feel like if a black audience watched it and we approved of it, then it's ours. For kids movies,
Everybody watched Drake and Josh.
yeah, and
You talk
every
about black cinema for Christmas movies. This Christmas, almost Christmas, Jingle Jangle.
if Ariana Grande was in it,
That is a white lady.
she's Italian.
That's white.
I
That's
know,
white.
I know, I know.
She's
But
brown white, but she's white.
I do like that because my only thing with Christmas movies that are about family
Hmm.
is that, like, that is kind of isolating to the audiences who don't have like a family at the moment, or a family have access to their family for a season, or don't have family. So that being said, I do like that the movie took place in California without the snow, because that brings an element of like Christmas isn't just about what you see, like it's about togetherness and what you
Or
have.
it makes me think about like Pip at the end when he like gets freed and he didn't have a family until he came back for Christmas.
I loved the little toys.
I don't know what his accent was supposed to be, but
Right.
it was cute.
Because of his accent, when I saw that it was Nick Offerman, I said, oh, he did really good. He voiced that really well, because I did not know.
I didn't really get the point of the little toys, if I'm being honest. Like I
Mm-mm.
understood it in terms of like, oh, and when you fail with Pepper, you become
This
a
is
toy. Like
easy.
I get that, but
Right.
I didn't need them. I'm so sorry for them.
Yeah.
They didn't really do it for me.
I I enjoyed them. Yeah, I enjoyed them. They did make the movie for me a little bit. Also, when Chris Redd's character was hitting on
Oh,
my mom, just
that was,
repeatedly, he did not care.
and the fact that he came to life and really thought they were going to be something.
Yeah, no, yeah, that was, and that's why I liked it. Like it was just ridiculous. When I saw that the writer did Muppets movies, I was like, okay, so
Yeah.
that's why you had all these different like character tiers. Oh, speaking of character tiers,
Mm.
we didn't even bring up two people who definitely like set the tone for the movie too. The newscasters, the ones who
Danielle, my girl. I love me some Danielle Pinnock. Okay. If y'all don't know Danielle, she and her friend, they have a Instagram page called #booked, and they be doing skits and funny stuff about being actors. But then Danielle's also on that CBS show with the ghosties.
she is.
She plays a ghostie on the ghosties. I love Danielle.
No,
Oh,
that
she was so funny in this movie.
that duo was great.
Who was the white man? We don't know his name, do we? He was
I do
funny
not know
though.
his
He
name
was
because
great.
I know him from Veep.
Oh.
Because he was on Veep, and like his character was this character that everybody would crap on. Like he's like the lowest of the rank. But then it turns out like, oh, his uncle's actually a senator, so they needed to kiss up to him. Like his character was just very funny in Veep. So I was very happy to see him in this movie, and he also delivered here. Like, yeah, I love him.
And then of course DC Young Fly. I love DC Young Fly so much. He makes me laugh. And I'm just so happy to see him laughing and smiling with everything that he's been through this year. Because he was so good in this movie. He should be really proud of the fact that like he has a movie with Eddie Murphy and like 8. Like 8 down.
If you could rate the movie, how would you? Out of 5 stars.
Out of 5 stars. I'd give it like a solid 4.
Solid 4?
Solid 4. It was, I think the entertainment allows me to overlook some of the script things that I just go, why? Or it was entertaining enough to kind of outshadow those things. Right. It was really funny. I was laughing most of this movie. I mean, it's a very funny movie. And again, I think the humor even helps to push some of the things where I was like, why would you write it like that? Like, again, it was funny enough where I'm like, okay, but at least it was funny.
Right.
And I just loved, again, like I'm so happy that we are getting more mainstream Black family centered Christmas movies. Cause there's not so many. I mean, I know I haven't seen any of these. My plan is to watch this whole series this Christmas, but like Kelly Rowland has Merry Little Christmas on Lifetime or Hallmark. You have this movie. You have
Jingle Jangle.
It's not Jingle Jangle. Is that the name of it?
Jingle Jangle is one of them.
Jingle Jangle is the one, the Netflix one, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so it's like the past couple of years, we've had a few that have come out. And then, of course, you still have this Christmas, Almost Christmas. Soul Food is technically a Thanksgiving movie, I think.
Best Man Holiday.
Best Man Holiday. Like we have some, but there's not as many. And so I'm always happy to see them, particularly when it's also a Black family, like not like a mixed family.
Right.
So it's nice to see. Because, you know, sometimes it'd be the Black person in there, but then they get it's not the same.
And also, it's a Black Christmas movie in the sense that it's Black and like Christmas magic. Like it's not just
it's right.
Black and Christmas time.
And produced by like a Black producer. Like Reginald Hudlin is like a GOAT in the game. So like I'm glad to see that it was. It wasn't, because the thing is especially finding out the writer was white. Like there are a lot of Christmas movies that I think get written and then they get cast with like Black people, or it's a gay story or whatever, but you can tell that the story wasn't written specifically for that.
Right.
It just got cast that way. And I think this movie felt unique and specific enough that like it was Black by design, which I really enjoyed. And so yeah, I would give it a 4. I will definitely watch it again next Christmas. I might even watch it again this Christmas, you know, if I have time and I just want to see something. You know, it was a good movie. I enjoyed it a lot.
Right.
Caleb would rate it out of 5.
I would give it a 3.5 for leaning. Like if I had to like make it a full star, then 4.
Right.
Because like you said, the entertainment, the enjoyment of the movie versus like all the little nitpicky things, that was high for me. And so like to be able to enjoy something, rest your mind, like that already takes enough.
Because I wasn't doing structure. Like I wasn't going like, oh, this is the midpoint. Like the fact that you told me it was 2 hours, I was like, oh, it didn't feel like 2 hours.
At all.
It felt like an hour and a half.
And and you had all these different scenes. Like it wasn't just stuck on this one family, no depth. Like where things might have been missing in my mind, it definitely made up for it in other areas. So 3.5 for leaning.
Definitely. I feel like, okay, so this is a great question. If you liked this movie, what is another movie that you would suggest somebody watch?
I personally would say They're not exactly in the same realm, but I
Mhm.
would say if you enjoyed this movie, then you should go and watch Unaccompanied Minors.
I love that movie.
It's a great movie. It's a fantastic movie. And I personally feel like they're in the same vein, just in
Yes.
the sense that, like, as Christmas approaches, like, steps need to be taken in order
Yes.
to have a good Christmas. And so, like, in that same vein, I would highly recommend
Oh my gosh, Caleb, that's such a
Unaccompanied
good movie.
Minors.
That's such a good movie.
what
Oh.
would your recommendation be?
So if you like Candy Cane Lane, I feel like you would enjoy Almost Christmas. But it's about a Black family in the South. The mother dies, so it's the first Christmas without her, and all of the grown kids kind of getting back together. It's super funny. It's not as heartfelt at the core as Candy Cane Lane is, but it is
Mhm.
really, really funny. I also am a huge This Christmas fan. I think similarly to Candy Cane Lane, it very much is like a Black family at Christmas. And there
Yeah.
is a little bit of Christmas lore. I mean, one of the sisters literally ends up sleeping with Santa.
Mhm.
And so there is like some Christmas lore. It's not necessarily as magical, but it does have some of that same Christmas element to it. So I think those two really, for me, are like the movies that I'm like, you would like those if you liked this.
So if you watch this movie and you're looking for a double feature, you
Mm,
know, we just gave you 3 movies
maybe
back to back to
three.
back. So enjoy yourselves, this Christmas season.
Yes, yes.
Please.
On a slightly sadder note as we close out the podcast, Norman Lear died, you guys, on Wednesday or Tuesday, December 5th. We're recording this on Wednesday, December 6th. But Norman Lear passed. Norman Lear is the producer who brought us so many of the Black sitcoms of the 70s and 80s, like Good Times being like a big one that you would think about. But just wanted to acknowledge his passing on this podcast on today. But yeah, Norman Lear literally gave us like so many of the sitcoms that, like, if we didn't have like those early representations of Blackness, like we wouldn't be able to talk about like a Candy Cane Lane,
Yeah.
and talk about like an Eddie Murphy and Tracy Ellis Ross who have come from sitcoms and comedies on television. Like those were like Norman Lear was like a big part of that. So I just want to acknowledge that. And just know that like the holidays, like Caleb said, like Christmas doesn't look the same for everybody. Everybody doesn't have necessarily family to go spend time with, or your family might not be the family you were born into, but the family you choose. And so, however you celebrate Christmas and the holiday season, because we know that everybody's also not Christian who listens to our podcast, but however you celebrate the holiday season is the right way to celebrate the holiday season. And if Christmas movies bring you joy, then watch the ones that we suggested. If Christmas movies don't bring you joy, we have so many other episodes talking about things that you might want to watch. So plug the podcast, go listen to them, and find something to watch. But this has been another episode of the No Sleep Till Hollywood podcast. Make sure you follow us at No Sleep Till Hollywood on Instagram. And you can follow me at G Smitty with 2 T's and 4 Y's on anything with an @ symbol, but especially on TikTok.
And you can follow me at Caleb Subtitles to see what I be posting. I don't even know what I be posting. I like to surprise myself.
Oh,
Okay. And shout out our producer, Easy.
big
Doing
purr.
the work, doing the thing. We love you.
We literally have made it through almost a season together, Ayana. Like, wow, look at that. Look at it.
That.
Look at that.
Season 3 coming.
Season 3 coming. After a brief break, we got one more episode after this one. 2 more episodes after this one. 2 more episodes after this one. And then a brief hiatus. And we'll be back with season 3. What did Usher say? Watch this.
Watch this. Watch this. Watch this. Thank you for listening to our review of Candy Cane Lane.
Mm-hmm.
Hope it didn't suck like a candy cane. Because, that's like a
When you
lollipop.
suck a candy cane, candy canes don't suck you.
You're right.
Anyway.
That was going to be a snow for me. All right. So
this has been another episode of the Sleep to Hollywood podcast. I hope that you are on the nice list somewhere. Unless you want to be on the naughty list. That's your business. But until next time, good night, good morning, bonjour, bonsoir, adios. Bye, guys.
see you in the South Pole.